Welcome to Secretshaman, and we are going to be talking about Venus in the ambitious sign of Capricorn, looking at artists such as Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Walt Disney, and Toulouse-Lautrec. Venus in Capricorn, the sign of practical ambition, is serious and conservative. Capricorn loves tradition, classical art, sculpture, and architecture. Security-minded, loyal, and reliable, they are attracted to stability, sophistication, and success. Capricorn has the energy of wanting to leave a tangible legacy behind for their loved ones. Cap is an earth sign, and they are sensual beings, but also deliberate and cautious, and they guard their privacy. They have a down-to-earth sensitivity when it comes to matters of the heart and want to be a good provider. Ruled by the strict energy of Saturn, there is a strong self-discipline with Capricorn. They are looking for a respectable and responsible mate, ideally one with status. They are not fond of external displays of affection and do appreciate self-control. They are the kind of lover who wants to build security and are someone who can always be counted on. They value material things, and in an insecure world, wealth is important to them. As an earth sign, Capricorn likes the finer things in life, and they are a hardworking, responsible, and committed partner. Capricorn's symbol is a goat with the tail of a fish, representing the ability to ascend from the lowest of places to the highest peak of success. There is a strong upward sense of movement with Capricorn. It is similar to Scorpio in this regard, Scorpio being represented by the eagle and the scorpion, but the upward energy of Scorpio is an internal transformation, while Capricorn has more of an external manifestation of one's ambitions in the material world. These people can be born poor and transcend all obstacles to reach the highest level of career and power. Venus in Capricorn can figure out a plan to capture the heart of even the most secluded prince or princess. They can stay for the long run and often have lifetime relationships and careers. This is an industrious sign with conservative values and tastes. They are constant in their emotional nature and often reserved or hesitant about revealing their feelings. They appreciate tradition in art as in love and understand the need for restraint and subtlety. Wild emotional displays or unstable changes in partnership are uncomfortable, making it hard for them to open up. They like to show their affection through action rather than feelings. They are respectful of others and try not to hurt their partner, as their own feelings can be quite sensitive. Their emotions are warm, tender, and supportive, and they would love the old-fashioned comfort of growing old with someone. Capricorn can be defensive when young, but they soften with age, and the best in life usually comes later. As a youth, they are often trusted with a high level of responsibility because they can deliver, and often receive favors from superiors, employers, and elders. Venus in Capricorn assists career luck. They can rise to a challenge and ultimately climb to the heights of great accomplishment. Benefits come through persons in positions of authority or status, conservative values, real estate, pensions, politics, and or their career choices. Their shadow nature would include inhibition, pessimism, or melancholy. Okay, now for some samples. Walt Disney was born in humble circumstances and became known for the first sound synchronized cartoon with Mickey Mouse. Disney was a pioneer of the animated feature and ran Walt Disney Studios, various television shows, and was the creator of the Disneyland amusement parks that built state-of-the-art rides. His vision and business acumen were intense, and he loved the classical European fairy tales. Disney holds the record for the most Academy Awards by a single person, with 22 awards and 4 honorary awards. When we look at his chart, we see Venus barely in the 5th house of creativity, quincunx Neptune, the planet of illusion and the film industry, in his 10th house of career, showing an intense need for creativity. It's also trine his ascendant, his approach to life, and sextile Mercury, his ability to communicate his visions and desires. Steve Jobs was an American businessman, inventor, and investor, best known for co-founding the technology company Apple Incorporated, and was chairman and majority shareholder of Pixar. Steve was a pioneer of the personal computer revolution and created many innovative products with over 450 patents. Jobs' design aesthetic was important, and he paid attention to the look and feel of his inventions. He highly valued the material aspect of how customers would experience his products. Benjamin Franklin was born into a poor family, but ascended to be an extraordinarily gifted diplomat, statesman, writer, scientist, printer, and publisher. He was ambassador to France, and his good relationship with the French monarchs helped to finance the American Freedom Revolution. Franklin sought to cultivate his character by a plan of 13 virtues that he practiced throughout his lifetime. He was one of the Committee of Five that drafted the Declaration of Independence, and his portrait now adorns the U.S. $100 bill. J. Edgar Hoover was an American attorney and law enforcer who served as the first director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He built the FBI into a modern national organization with scientific crime-fighting abilities. Eyes were raised at his powerful presence in the government and Washington, D.C. Frank Sinatra was born into humble circumstances and became known as the Voice, and had a great and long career, becoming one of the top performers of his day. Nicknamed the chairman of the board, he was friends with very powerful people, such as the Kennedys and the famous Rat Pack. He was a great interpreter of jazz lyrics and loved classical music. Brad Pitt is a handsome American actor and film producer who became an international star. He was very interested in environmentally friendly and sustainable architecture and studied computer-aided design in Los Angeles. He has collaborated on several architectural projects and has said that architecture is his passion and acting is his career. Brad established the Make It Right Foundation, subsidizing new construction in New Orleans following the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. Dolly Parton was born to a poor farming family in Tennessee and rose in the ranks as an American singer, songwriter, actress, and philanthropist known for her country music with a career spanning over 60 years. She has been described as a country legend and one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. She spent much of her earnings in the construction of Dollywood in her native Tennessee and is known for her many charitable works and literacy programs. Maria Callas was born into poverty in New York City to Greek immigrants. She was one of the most famous opera singers of the 20th century and one of classical music's best-selling vocalists nearly 30 years after her death. Her voice and influence is so enduring that she's still the definition of the diva as an artist. Her dramatic life and misfortunes did not overshadow her extraordinary artistic achievements. Grigori Rasputin was born into poverty and became a charismatic Russian mystic and faith healer who ingratiated himself into the Russian monarchy of Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia. He attended to Alexei, their only son and heir, who suffered from hemophilia. He gained immense influence over the Russian imperial family and government, which destabilized the country. Elvis Presley was known as the king of rock and roll. Growing up poor in America, Elvis grew to become one of the most famous and successful musicians and singers of all time. He was known as Elvis the Pelvis for his hip gyrations, considered controversial at the time. His ascendant sign was Sag, ruling the hips. And Elvis loved classical hymnals and gospel music, singing them throughout his life and combining them with blues and modern rock and roll. Ludwig van Beethoven was a German composer, considered one of the three greatest Western classic composers of all time. Being deaf at an early age, Beethoven incredibly composed some of the most powerful, dignified, and intense music that moves us to this day. He pushed the boundaries of classical music with a powerful ability for emotional expression, sentiment, and majesty. Willliam Blake was an English poet, painter, and printmaker who produced a diverse and symbolically rich collection of art. He embraced his imagination with a classical style similar to Raphael or Michelangelo, but with mystical and visionary undercurrents. A follower of Swedenborg, Blake became his own glorious luminary and favored a style of line engraving considered to be old-fashioned at the time, but which gave his art a powerful presence. And you can observe here that Blake favored strong vertical compositions, moving from the ground to a high point in his images. Henri Toulouse-Lautrec was a French painter, printmaker, and illustrator who immersed himself in the bohemian life of Paris in the late 19th century. He was a nightlife-loving aristocrat who grew up in privilege but broke both of his legs when young, and because of a rare condition, he was very short as an adult due to his undersized legs. His ill health, however, allowed him to pursue his art. When the Moulin Rouge Cabaret opened, Toulouse was commissioned to produce a series of posters. He often applied paint in long, thin strokes with vertical movement, and he did many horizontal compositions as well. But in my opinion, I think it was his vertical silhouettes in his poster work that really cemented his fame. Henry Miller, another artist that shows a love of vertical compositions and buildings. And then we have Gustav Eiffel, a French civil engineer best known for the Eiffel Tower in Paris, a tall structure capable of withstanding the stresses of unfriendly weather. He was also acknowledged for his contribution to building the Statue of Liberty in New York, and Eiffel's iron frame designs also permitted the Notre Dame church to be built higher and to have greater interior space than earlier churches. And one last noted artist here, Camille Claudel, was one of the first women to formally study sculpture and was a model for Rodin, the famous French sculptor. She became his assistant, lover, and confidant, and a talented sculptress in her own right. Camille was fascinated with stone and soil. Probably her most famous work was the beautiful figure of the Waltz. This sculpture was emotionally fluid with a tall diagonal axis. Two dancers intertwined in a close embrace, and it's just beautiful. So in conclusion, we can see that Venus in Capricorn likes to ascend to the top and especially loves tradition, classical art, sculpture, and architecture. And if you have Venus in Capricorn, please leave a comment below so we can learn more about this amazing placement. and thank you for watching.